You're listening to Later with Mo Kelly on demand from KFI AM 640.
KFI AM 640. It's Later with Mo Kelly. We're live everywhere on the iHeartRadio app. Let's go beyond the box score with Jackie Ray. Jackie Ray, it's good to see you. I just want to make sure you're okay because that earthquake earlier today, it wasn't as strong in magnitude as last week, but it felt a lot closer to home. Did you feel it? Did you notice it?
Man, did I notice it. I live in Long Beach, so I was running around my apartment. Today was a hectic day. And then all of a sudden I felt like I was surfing and I was like, okay, come on. And then it was like, okay, I'm still surfing. And because it lasted so long, I never panic when there's earthquakes. I'm like, okay, this is just going to be a kind of hit it and quit it situation. But that one lingered. And I was like, I'm on the top floor. What would happen? And I just played every worst case scenario.
It's kind of like you are where you are at that moment. And I was home with the dogs and the dogs freaked out from jump. Okay. And it started rolling and then there was a jolt midway through it. It got worse. I said, all right, is this getting ready to go one way or the other? But then it calmed down. This is the second one that we've had in the past week or so. So people are more than reasonably jittery at this point.
Yes.
So
my auntie, well, she's my great auntie. She was here during the Northridge earthquake, and it traumatized her so bad because she was trapped for 2 days. So she, to this day, barely leaves her house. But she called me, she old, and she's like, baby, did you feel that? And I was like, yeah. She's like, this is how things went right before the Northridge earth. I was like, I don't need to hear this, auntie.
Yeah. You're not giving us any good news. You're not helping. But that aside, that's not why I asked you on. I wanted to talk about some of the sports and society intersectional issues. Yesterday at the Rams game, you might have seen and heard R&B singer Tyrese give his rendition of the national anthem. He's not a bad singer. He's had a singing career, so I didn't have to worry about his singing. But he came out dressed as Marvin Gaye as an homage to when he did the All-Star game in L.A., the NBA All-Star game, and also a previous Cowboys game in the late 1970s. He had the full-on afro wig under a beanie and a full beard. And around gets red, What did you make of at least the look, given the responsibility of delivering the national anthem?
So, first of all, I didn't know what was happening with the look. And so I really had to rely heavily on social media to say when he started singing, I was like, oh, okay. But the Marvin Gaye rendition of the national anthem is one of the best renditions of all time. So if you're going to go out there and do it, you have to kill it. And if there is one person that I trust to kill it, it definitely would be Tyrese. Because he has a great vocal. If you guys want to go back on YouTube and find something fun, find that commercial when he was in the Pepsi on the bus.
No, it was Coca-Cola.
My bad. Yep. Coca-Cola commercial. That boy can sang. Yeah. A little thrown off. He doesn't sound bad, but he doesn't sound like Marvin Gaye. And so once your ears tune to, oh, this is the Marvin Gaye rendition, then it just doesn't sound good. I tried to take myself out of it and just listen to it for someone singing, but I couldn't do that because he was trying to sound like Marvin Gaye, and it just didn't land at all.
You make a key point. He was trying to sound like someone he was not. And I was thinking, like, is he getting ready to play Marvin Gaye in a biopic or something?
Right.
And that's not it. And so it, to me, said that he wasn't really taking this all too seriously. And that, I think, rubs some people the wrong way. And I think justifiably so. We've had more than one or some conversations about how you're supposed to treat the national anthem, not only in how you perform it, but how you present it. And the whole idea, he was out in the 70s garb, he's cosplaying out there. And there was one point, you may not have seen it all, but people can find it online. Near the end, he said something to the effect of, hey, if you love your country, if you love this country, let me hear you. That's fine if you want to exhort people's patriotism. But the visual says to me that you're not taking it seriously, so I can't take anything you say or sing seriously. He was cosplaying, and that rubbed me the wrong way.
I can totally see that, especially when he can sing. You know what I mean? You're not an actor that's going out. You are an actor as well, but you started in the entertainment industry modeling and singing. That is your home. That is your love. So if you really love and respect this country and the national anthem, then just sing it as Tyrese. You can actually sing. You can do a great job. And if you are going to try to emulate somebody, you should have put months in. Marvin Gaye is a very difficult singer to emulate because of the range that he has, because of the tonality. He does runs differently than most singers in the world. So you would have had to really kind of, like you said, really fall into it like you are going to do a biopic about him. You have to embrace who he is vocally. And if you were going to just listen to it sounded to me, and no shade to Tyrese, it sounded to me like he listened to it in the car on the way over.
Yes, because he didn't sound like Marvin Gaye. And he didn't even give us the best version of Tyrese, the singer, because we know he can sing. And it would be different if there was some sort of introduction which said, now coming to the stage, Grammy-nominated singer Tyrese, who you'll see in the upcoming Marvin Gaye biopic. There was nothing. So for a person who's not even musically knowledgeable like me, and I like to call myself musically knowledgeable, I knew what he was trying to do, but I'm quite sure the 50,000 people in that stadium did not know who he was trying to emulate, or didn't have the historical reference point. Oh, that's Marvin Gaye. It could have been going back to the 1983 NBA All-Star game 41 years ago, or even prior to that with a Cowboys game. He sung the national anthem in a variety of venues. That was the only thing that rubbed me the wrong way. I wonder how this is going to land as more and more people learn about it, because like you came by it after the fact. I came by it after the fact. Other people will eventually see it and hear about it. I see some coverage online, but not a lot. Do you think there will be any real blowback for him?
I think that Tyrese is embracing the notion that there's no such thing as bad press, because if you go onto his Twitter page, he has already apologized for it. He actually took somebody else's tweet that said this was a horrible rendition. It was terrible or something like that. And Tyrese responded with, I'm not going to agree with terrible. A few wrong notes maybe, but that's what happens when you're live. And then he scrolls from that into the 20-second clip that will be easily found. And then the next swipe is his new album that's about to drop. So I think he is just kind of saying, hey, you know what? Good, bad, or ugly. Now people are going to want to listen, because if you think he can't sing, you might click on that album just to be like, oh, well, why didn't he just sing it like that? So I think he's just trying to capitalize on the notion that there's no such thing as bad press.
Well, he's not wrong, if only because we're talking about him tonight, and we had no prior intention of mentioning his name for any reason, and here we are. But he's not wrong. When we come back, I have one last thought on the Olympics, and it has to do with announcer, broadcaster, anchor Mike Tirico. And I was watching this as it happened live, and I didn't give it much of a thought, which says, I didn't know. Mo, what are you talking about? Well, there was a situation where Mike Tirico indicated that a French basketball player had a flag around his shoulders, and he said that it was the Palestinian flag when it wasn't. I'm going to give people some behind the scenes of how television and radio works, and why I'm going to give Mike Tirico a pass this time. It's later with Mo Kelly. KFI AM 640. We're live everywhere on the iHeartRadio app.
You're listening to Later with Mo Kelly on demand from KFI AM 640.
As we continue to go beyond the box score with Jackie Ray, and NBC's main Olympic sportscaster, Mike Tirico, triggered immediate backlash on social media because of a comment he made about the French basketball player, Matthias Lassort, who had a flag wrapped around his shoulders during the Olympics medal ceremony, which he received a silver medal. Mike Tirico said it was the Palestinian flag, when actually it was the flag from Martinique, a French territory.
Lassort, one of the bank incentives, the Palestine flag draped over his shoulders as well. We were certainly conscious of any displays regarding the Middle East conflict.
It's a reasonable mistake to be made, but in this environment, it's not going to be received as such. Mike Tirico, after the broadcast was over on social media, acknowledged his mistake and, asked for people's forgiveness. And this is why I'm going to forgive him. It was a bad mistake to make. And I'm not pushing that aside, but I understand what happens in TV, and to a smaller degree, it happens in radio. And Jackie Ray, I know you know this because you've done TV as well. When you're an anchor or you're speaking, it's at least one or two people in your ear telling you, okay, 30 seconds before to go to break, make sure you say this, or look at camera 2 and so forth. And oftentimes the broadcaster is being fed information. I don't know this for a fact, but I would not be surprised if a producer in his ear said, hey, make note of the flag around his shoulders. That's the Palestinian flag. Or after the fact, did not get in his ear and correct him. One of those two things probably happened. What was your read?
I think both of those things happen. I think because unfortunately, as Americans, we are even though a lot of us try to be very abreast on what's going on around the world, we are very American centric. We don't know all flags, you know what I mean? And I think that's safe to say that most countries don't know that. Mike Tirico is an outstanding American broadcaster, you know what I mean? But American is front of that. So I think what indicated to me that someone was in his ear and they didn't realize his own mistake is because usually what happens, and this has happened to me, and it is flustering when you make a mistake on air on live television, because now you got to control your face. Now that's different for him. This happened to me when I was an anchor, but you got to control your face and not look like mortified. But you still have to, even when you're an announcer, you still have to, save your tonality and not sound like you just made a drastic mistake. But as soon as you make it, someone is in your ear going, that is not right, that you need to say this, and you got to finish your sentence while somebody is telling you fix that right now, and they are angry.
Let me jump in there, because I've been through it, television and radio, where someone's trying to talk in your ear while you are talking.
Yes.
And I always told my producers or someone I'm working with in TV, do not try to talk to me while I'm talking.
Oh, yes.
If I'm in an interview, say something to me while the interviewee is talking. I get the sense that they were in his ear while he was talking, and there was nothing he could do to either process the information. Well, here's the thing. Producer has two jobs. One, you have to protect the host.
Right.
In other words, if Mike Tirico gets out there with the wrong information, you have to make sure that he corrects it immediately thereafter. Right. Or you have to make sure you don't give him the wrong information prior to. The producer failed him either before, during, or after. Either did not give him the right information or did not implore him to correct it immediately, because that's the producer's job.
I think it was both. And the only reason I think that is because of how long it took for the correction to come. So I think it was the producer who said, hey, that's the Palestinian flag. And then the producer went off, la, la, la. And then all of a sudden he was like, oh, snap. 15 minutes later, now I have to tell him. Or maybe maybe somebody even texted Mike like, yo, that's not it. However Mike got the information, I do think that the producer was the first person, because I do think when you're in that booth and you're in that moment, you're not really looking for those kinds of things. You might see the flag, and if you don't immediately know, and I can say this almost for fact, if you don't immediately know what that is, you don't assume.
You don't
assume.
Yes.
Yes. So that's why I think the producer fed him that information, and then the producer was late to give him the correct information.
This is what I tell young producers all the time. You have to be 100% accurate in your information, because when the mistake is made on air, radio or TV, they won't remember the producer. Hell, we don't even know the producer's name.
Correct, yeah.
The only person who is in this story is Mike Tirico. And as a producer, your job is to protect the host. And the producer did not protect the host. That's why I would give Mike Tirico a pass, because I know someone was in his ear before, during, and after, and no one helped him. Nobody helped him. I didn't know. I'm relying on what Mike Tirico is telling me. And so I look like, oh, that's the flag of Martinique. Oh, yeah, they are similar. They are close, but it is incorrect. And that's the producer's job.
Right. And even when I saw it, I didn't see it live. I saw it like 5 minutes after the fact because a friend had texted me like, yo, get your boy, because he knows I really like Mike Tirico. And then thanks to Paramount, I was able to rewind and see the whole thing in real time. And I'll have to admit, when he goes, that's the Palestine, I was like, is it? Because I didn't immediately think that was it. But I don't see the Palestinian flag enough to know that I could say, no, that's not it.
Right.
So I had to Google it. And to his point, they were similar. It's not similar enough. Like my brain was like, I don't know. But again, if somebody puts that in your ear, it's similar enough to you be like, oh, okay, maybe it is. And then you just say it. And so it's unfortunate that this happened to him. I thought he handled it as best he could after the fact. But once it's done, it's hard to put that lid back on that box, especially in this climate.
He can't, and he's a pro. He's not going to throw his producer under the bus, but someone got cussed out afterward. I am positive. Because, again, it's only Mike Tirico's name out there. He has to take the responsibility. I mean, it's not unfair because he was the one who uttered the words, but I just know in TV and radio, there is so much more which goes into that moment and why there was such a long delay before he apologized, which says to me, Mike didn't know and the producer didn't know.
Correct. And so now this is the crazy part about that is the producer gets to go home to his significant other, his or her significant other, and just be like, oh my God, this happened, and go to sleep fine. Mike Tirico is going to be dealing with this forever.
Well, no, forever, because this, like, if he were to make another mistake, it always refers back to this mistake.
Right.
This is something that, the internet is forever, and it's not super major, but it is still super important to be accurate.
Absolutely. It's unfortunate.
You're listening to Later with Mo Kelly on demand from KFI AM 640.
Deadpool and Wolverine has passed. There are two things which are notable about Deadpool and Wolverine this week. If you haven't seen it, shame on you. But it passed the $1 billion milestone as an R-rated movie. It's the number one R-rated movie of all time in terms of box office. It's pretty well equally balanced. 493 million domestically, 536 million internationally, $1 billion overall. But here's something else. It actually went up 130 or so theaters added to it. Usually a movie in its third week, you're starting to lose theaters. And especially with rated R movies. Rated R movies don't stay long in movie theaters because in theory, you're limited as far as how many people can see the movie. If you're talking about kids or going to be those who are underage come to see the movie, but it's actually added theaters. It's now up to 4,330 theaters. That's unheard of for an R-rated movie. And also this, it's still the number one movie in the country.
Deservedly so.
I thought it was going to fall off its perch and It Ends With Us was going to come in first place. And it almost did. It Ends With Us came in with 50 million. Deadpool and Wolverine pulled in 53 million. I don't know what It Ends With Us is about. I don't have a desire to see it. Do you know, Twaller?
No, but it stars Ryan Reynolds' wife.
Oh, Blake Lively.
Yes.
Oh, so I know that's going to be a nice conversation piece at the dinner table.
Yeah.
It's some kind of romantic drama, and I decided there was no way in hell I was going to the movie when I read a few excerpts from it. People on Twitter were posting quotes from the book, making fun of the bad prose, and I just realized this is a good week to watch Umbrella Academy instead.
It's not for me. It Ends With Us, adapted from the Colleen Hoover novel. Lily overcomes a traumatic childhood to embark on a new life. A chance meeting with a neurosurgeon sparks a connection, but Lily begins to see sides of him that remind her of her parents' relationship. If that doesn't sound boring as frick, I don't know what does.
I don't even know.
You're not going to get my free time, much less my money, to see that. And I'm quite sure there's an audience for it, but that audience doesn't include me.
No, I don't think any of us sitting here right now are the demographic for that movie.
And it's 2 hours and 10 minutes long? Jeez. No. Anyhow, but it pulled in 50 million domestically, another 30 million internationally. It's a hit because it couldn't have cost that much to make. I mean, there's no CGI post-production. It's just talking, I assume, and probably some sex in there or something.
Not everything is for everyone.
No, and I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
Coming in number 3 this week, Twisters, which is hanging around, it's had a solid run. It has brought in $222 million domestically, $310 million worldwide. I think that is beating expectations for it. It's still in more than 4,000 theaters. It's a movie that will play everywhere in every portion of the country. It lends itself to just about every age group. It's not too violent. It's perfect for the summer. But here's the disappointment. Borderlands came in at number 4 with only 8 million in ticket sales.
Huge flop.
That really surprised me. And it surprised them.
No, that's not a surprise at all. No, seriously, it's not. No, because from my understanding, the film was shot a while ago. And then it was redone by another director altogether who touched it up. And then they put this thing out. And it's the cast does not fit the characters. The cast does not touch base with the younger video game playing audience. And the film, from my understanding, it just sucks.
But usually all those flaws in a film will be exposed after the first week. They usually get a good first week push, but they couldn't even get 1 week push.
No. And that film cost $120 million to make.
And they're not getting that back.
Nope.
That's a write off, however you want to call it. Coming in at number 5 is Despicable Me 4 with 8 million. That movie is still doing well. And if you're wondering what it's doing overall, 807 million. It's not going to make $1 billion, but I'm quite sure for the 4th movie in the franchise, they will take 800 million in a heartbeat. Now, here's the one, and I saw this over the weekend. I fit in some time to go see Trap with Josh Hartnett.
Okay.
M. Night Shyamalan.
Yeah.
If you didn't tell me that was Josh Hartnett, I would have not recognized him. To me, he looks like a 55, 60-year-old man. And I know that's kind of what he was supposed to look like for his character in the movie. It's a long way from what he used to be 20 years ago. Because it kind of dropped off the scene. You didn't see him for a while. And then he comes back and he's in a different age group as far as his roles. He's not trying to play the young sex symbol anymore. He's literally playing the dad role as he was in this movie.
I watched a number of things about it on YouTube this weekend, interviews and features. I was really curious about the movie. What did you think of it?
I thought, put it this way, it was better than the more recent offerings of M. Night. But outside of that, have you seen it?
No.
Okay, I don't want to give away too much. But it's, well, I'll tell you the premise. He is at a concert. His character's at a concert with his daughter. And early in the concert, it is revealed that the concert is a ruse because the police are looking for a serial killer. And this is revealed. And the serial killer is Josh Hartnett's character. That's all I'll tell you. That's revealed within the first 2 minutes, so that's not giving away anything. Mm-hmm. And then everything as it's laid out from there, it strains credulity, but there's some very smart moments. I think Josh Hartnett as the killer is a little too damn smart to be believable at certain points. But I thought overall the movie was not bad. It just wasn't great. I don't think he'll ever catch the magic, recapture the magic of Sixth Sense.
Oh no! And since you bring up Sixth Sense, the obvious question to me is: does this movie do anything to dispel the notion that this guy Shyamalan is a one-trick pony?
I don't know if it's a one-trick pony because there are other movies that I did like. I liked The Village. I didn't like the ending to The Village, but I liked it overall. Lady in the Water was horrible. There's some other.
Avatar was good.
I didn't like that.
I liked Avatar. Avatar was good.
Whatever. Wait. The original movie version?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I thought you were talking about the Netflix series.
No,
I'm sorry. No.
What the hell? No.
No, I like the Avatar movie.
I'm talking about the Avatar movie.
Yes, I like. Yes, I like that movie.
Yeah.
Most people didn't like that movie, but I did like that movie.
Yeah.
Did he do The Happening? Where the plants were killing everyone?
Yeah.
Was that I didn't like that one at all.
Wahlberg, yeah.
Yeah. I did not like that at all. But I will give this to him. Cabin in the Woods, that was horrible.
Signs was good.
Signs was good.
Yeah.
I like M. Night Shyamalan because he is telling stories that are very different. He is willing to be adventurous with the types of stories that he's willing to tell.
Right.
The execution isn't always there.
Doesn't it seem to you, though, like the end of the movie, the very end of the movie determines your whole experience for the last couple hours? Like watching Lost. You don't know how you feel about the series until the finale, and then you're like, what?
See, that's a great point, and there's a age-old debate. In other words, if Act 1 and Act 2 are great, but Act 3 isn't great, does that make that a bad movie? Or if Act 1 and Act 2 were okay, but you have this great ending that maybe you couldn't have foreseen, does that make a great movie? For me, the end has to be there.
Right, well, a lot of movies are about the journey, but not his. The whole movie is about the end. Yeah, everything you've just seen depends on the ending.
And The Sixth Sense is not as great a movie for me as other people, because if you go back and rewatch it, he does not even hold to his own rules that he set up in a movie. All the dead people are supposed to be like they were when they died. Well, Bruce Willis changed his clothes 3 times in the movie as a misdirection. That's not fair. So you're intentionally misleading people so you don't look at him and realize that he's actually dead. Oh, sorry, spoiler.
But I love the Glass trilogy.
That's right. That's his. Those were good.
Those were good.
Yeah. So once again, hit and miss, but he's telling stories which are really, really inventive. Sometimes the execution isn't there. That's why I keep watching his movies, because I hated Cabin in the Woods. I hated Lady in the Water. But the idea is, like, maybe if he'd have someone else write his movies, like he'll just come up with the treatment and then have someone else write the actual movie, it'd be good.
So you recommending Trap or not?
I would recommend it. I'd recommend it. I'd be curious to see what you thought about it. It's not great.
You already owe me an hour and 44 minutes from last week.
You're not getting that hour back.
Please.
You're not getting that.
Put it this way. I didn't feel like I wasted my time.
Okay.
It's not meant to, like, oh my gosh, this big, huge reveal, because it starts with the premise that you know who the killer is. So they're not trying to hide that from you. It's about what happens subsequent to that.
Oh, by the way, just to put a pin in Borderlands, 9% on Rotten Tomato.
Oh, gosh.
If you had any lingering doubts that it was a Code Brown.
That means I can't even find reason to watch that for free anymore.
No.
You're listening to Later with Mo Kelly on demand from KFI AM 640.
KFI Mo Kelly, iHeartRadio app. Here's your horoscope. What cat breed is most compatible with your zodiac sign, Mark Ronner? What cat breed is most compatible with your sign?
Oh, I got a good one.
Aries, Savannah cat. The very first Savannah cat, a hybrid between an African serval and a Siamese cat, was born on April 7th, 1986. It's the OG of the breed. And Aries, assertive and prone to jumping impulsively to dangerous heights, this breed, like the cardinal fire sign it aligns with, is overactive and expresses affection through headbutting.
Big cats. You don't want to go near the litter box with these.
Well, as they say, at least with dogs, big dookie.
Yeah, exactly.
Taurus, Russian blue cat. According to the lore, the Russian blue is descendant from cats kept by Russian czars. Likewise, the lethargy, self-righteousness, and expensive taste of the average Taurus suggest a link to the aristocracy. The Russian blue is described as both observant and persistent, always ensuring that her needs are met. She doesn't adapt well to change, such as varying meal times or unknown visitors. There you go, Taurus. Gemini, the Bengal cat. Is that you, Ronner?
Yeah, look at how cute that thing is.
Inexhaustible. That's about right.
Uh-huh.
Curious and vocal. Yeah, accurate. The Bengal will find easy kinship with the infinite energy of Gemini. Highly intelligent. I don't know about that. These cats are keen to play games with or on their owners.
You don't need to editorialize on the intelligent part.
Well, let's call
honestly,
it
the resentment's palpable.
It's host privilege.
Uh-huh.
You know. Later with Mo Kelly.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Adept at opening doors, stealing hearts, and generally outsmarting their humans. Indeed, the only kind of superiority that appeals to the Gemini is the intellectual variety, and in the cunning Bengal, they meet their match.
Got to get a couple of those.
Cancer, Sphinx cat. Most cancers suffer from persistent emotional sunburn, and the skin of the Sphinx is similarly sensitive. It's like a hairless cat. The Cat Fanciers Association maintains, quote, Sphinx are truly a rare treasure and should be kept indoors, neutered or spayed, and provided with loving and interactive surroundings to maintain a healthy, long, and enjoyable life. Unlike many other cat breeds, the Sphinx is not opposed to a bath, the natural habitat of the melancholic Cancer. The excessive wrinkling in their foreheads gives them a worried/anxiously attached look familiar to any Cancer who has ever loved anything. Leo, the Maine, I'm not reading that. It's a Maine cat. I'm not. Mm-mm. Twelve, why'd you give me this racist cat?
Cat's not racist.
It's racist. I'm not reading it. No,
Okay.
it's a cat from Maine.
Yep.
Leo, look up a Maine cat. M-A, like the state. You can go from there. You can figure it out.
Do you object to that animal that starts with rack?
Yes.
Okay, let's move on.
Yes. Virgo, yours is the Siamese cat.
Beautiful.
Virgos take responsibility seriously, a gravitas expressed in the legend of the Siamese cat. For generations, Siamese cats exhibited crossed eyes and crooked tails. A folk tale explained that a troop of Siamese cats was ordered to guard a golden goblet for a king. The cats performed their duties with such diligence that their eyes crossed from staring at the goblet, and they wrapped their tails around the chalice for extra protection so tightly they became permanently bent. Taking a sacred duty to a self-destructive degree, big-time Virgo vibes. Libra, Abyssinian cat. Libra is the sign of partnership, and natives can easily fall into codependency. Abyssinians who routinely shadow their owners are happy to indulge in this dynamic. Like their Libra counterparts, Abyssinians, sometimes known as tabby abbeys, look beautiful, require a considerable amount of reassurance and affection, and are prone to depression when left without people to impress. Scorpio, this is for you, Tuala.
Nice.
The French Chartreux cat.
Beautiful.
The short-haired French Chartreux has been admired since antiquity for its unrivaled hunting prowess. Scorpios similarly enjoy stalking their prey and making others feel inferior. Scorpio is the strategic survivalist of the zodiac, and qualities of the Chartreux breed include keen intelligence and preternatural adaptability, qualities and that sustain them in the wild for centuries. Scorpios are suckers for a goth-tinged poem, and Joachim de Bellay penned a real-life feline feels factory with his 1558 ode to his dead Chartreux. The poem argues that the cat ought to be immortal, a cause close to the dark Plutonian heart of all Scorpios.
Meow.
Okay, Sagittarius, that's me. The Norwegian forest cat.
That's a beautiful cat, man.
There's no such thing as a beautiful cat.
This cat is beautiful. This cat is gorgeous.
It's
Look at this
hairy. It looks like it needs to be groomed, needs to be shaved down.
Oh, yeah, it's the Yahoo Serious of cats. Look at it.
Teased his hair out and everything.
You have the Sideshow Bobcat.
It's Bon Jovi. Just blew dry his hair. Sagittarius is the seeker of the zodiac, swashbuckling and always down for a sojourn or a harrowing tale of adventure. True to form, the Norwegian forest cat is descended from felines of yore that sailed the seas on Viking warships. On that same travel tip, the Norse goddess Freya was an avowed cat lover, and she's oft depicted riding a chariot being pulled by a pair of Norwegian forest cats. This breed is naturally waterproof, managing to keep themselves dry in even the most perilous wetness. Similarly, the relentless optimism of the average Sagittarius keeps them smiling in the face of adversity and buoyant amid dire straits.
See? Great cat.
Whatever. There's no such thing, but, all this is fake.
It's a great cat, and it's great for you.
Serious dingleberries on that cat.
You had one?
Look at it.
Well, you're talking about because of the fur?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. That's another reason why I don't have any cats. Capricorn, the Munchkin cat. Capricorn is ruled by Saturn, the planet of hard lessons and limitations. Enter the Munchkin cat, the short-legged, awe-inducing breed that struggled to find legitimacy. The abbreviated appendages of the Munchkin, the result of a genetic mutation, have made them popular as a pet and problematic as a breed, as many pedigree associations refuse to recognize them, including the hilariously named Governing Council of the Cat Fancy. That's a real thing. Undeterred, Pixel the Munchkin and others like her have prevailed, melting hearts and making money through lucrative appearances. Success as revenge for being underestimated, pure poetry to a Capricorn.
I think it's cruel and horrific that people breed these munchkin cats with their mutant legs and their little stubby paws. It is cruel to breed these things.
Well, they are ugly. I'll say that.
How do we get on the governing council of the cat fancy? I want in on that.
Probably the same way you do on the Metro Council. Send in an application. I don't know.
Their meetings are probably like that Eyes Wide Shut party, aren't they?
We could only hope.
Yeah.
Aquarius, the ragdoll cat. Paranoid eccentrics themselves, Aquarians will resonate with the story of Ann Baker, the original breeder of the ragdoll cat. Baker created the ragdoll from a mess of feral cats that frequented a laundromat here in California, in fact, Riverside. Noting that the offspring of one female cat had remarkably docile temperaments, she began selectively breeding them with the intent of fostering a feline master race of companionable cats. Just as Aquarians play dead in relationships, ragdoll cats go limp when held. Leave that alone, Mark. Leave it alone. Don't make it weird.
Leave me alone.
Pisces. To close it out, the Persian cat. Pisces is ruled by Neptune, planet of dreams and illusions, and never has there been a cat more cut from a dreamscape or a DMT trip than the wonderfully flat-faced Persian. The Persian, like the average Pisces, tears up more frequently than other breeds or signs. A mutable water sign, Pisces is synonymous with poetry. From calico to smoke, the descriptions of this breed verge on the ludicrously lyrical. Case in point. Quote, the chinchilla is a sparkling white cat with the black tipping scattered as evenly as stardust, close quote. Or their brilliant copper eyes seem almost like burning embers within the smoke setting. And there is your horoscope as far as what cat breed is most compatible with your zodiac sign. I hope you got nothing out of it, because I got nothing out of it. I'm a dog lover.
I just got a hairball.
You had to make it work. KFI AM 640. We're live everywhere in the iHeartRadio app.
You think we've got all the answers? Well, we've got news for you, Chief. No, seriously, we've got news right now.
KFI.
And KOST HD2.
Los Angeles, Orange County.
Live.